Advice?
Have a good look around. It could be anywhere.
Shooter put him up against the wall and blew his brains out.
Hell of a way to go.
Doesn't really matter how you go once you're gone.
Don't get all deep on me, Phelps.
Ralph, there's something on the rooftop.
How the hell did you see that?
A reflection in the window. Looks like it might be our weapon. I'm gonna see if I can find a way up there.
All right. Don't hurt yourself.
This isn't what we're looking for.
The gun's up on the roof, right? So we need to find a way up.
Seems irrelevant.
What kind of chumps do these homicide guys think we are?
Nope.
How you doing, Cole? Found it yet?
Smith & Wesson, serial S71893. Two rounds fired, and instead of dropping it down a drain, our shooter hoists it up here. Interesting guy.
We should follow up on this now, before the perp tries to leave town.
We have the gun, Cole. Let's take it back to Central. We could get a commendation.
Could show some initiative, Ralph, and see if we can come up with an owner.
That's a long shot, Cole.
It's a pretty fancy gun. You know a local gun store?
Sure. There's a place a couple of blocks from here. Are you sure about this? It's not really our gig.
No harm in doing some digging. The suits didn't seem to give much of a damn.
Such a little Boy Scout, Cole. You can't wait to get out of that uniform, can you?
You'd rather round up drunks and help old ladies across the road?
I'd rather get through the day without the captain's foot up my ass.
It'll be fine, Ralph. You worry too much. Jesus!
Officers Phelps and Dunn. Can you tell us anything about this gun?
Smith & Wesson, Model 27, registered Magnum. Chambered for .357, nickel-plated with pearl grips. Same gun used by General Patton.
You're not suggesting he's the owner?
No, I'm not.
You seem to know a lot about the weapon.
I ought to. I sold it. You know, this piece will stop a rhino. These babies are only available special order. Here's my Smith & Wesson order book.
You mind if I take a look?
Be my guest. This is about something bad, right?
Model 27 with pearl grips, Cole. You see it on there?
We're in luck. Errol Schroeder, 203 South Glass Street. Ordered the gun in February 46. Thanks, you've been a big help.
Anytime. Always happy to help out the LAPD.
Do we call it in?
Let's see if he's at home. Owning the gun doesn't prove he pulled the trigger.
Okay. In for a penny, in for a pound. Lead the way, Gunga Din.
Slow down!
Officer needs help, 103 MD.
Now that wasn't so hard, was it? Just because we're in uniform doesn't mean we can't use our initiative.
I guess so. Seems a little too good to be true. One-of-a-kind murder weapon bought locally using a real name? If Schroeder's our shooter, he's no criminal mastermind.
Most of them aren't. That's why they get caught.
Careful!
Most of them aren't. That's why they get caught. 2 out of every 3 crimes are done on impulse.
Another fact from the Phelps Encyclopedia of Thin Air. You really are full of it.
Careful!
You're really starting to annoy me.
Your husband drives a blue Lincoln, Mrs. Black?
That's correct.
The car has been found abandoned, and I'm afraid there are signs of foul play.
I knew something was wrong when he didn't come home.
We believe your husband may be injured. We found a pipe on the scene with blood on it.
Oh, no! My poor Adrian!
Do you think you could answer some questions now, Mrs. Black?
Of course. However I can help.
We found a receipt in the trunk of your husband's car for a live pig. This receipt was made out to an F. Morgan.
A pig? Adrian runs a tool business. That would be Frank Morgan. God knows what he's up to.
What makes you say that about Morgan, ma'am?
He's the foreman at my husband's plant. A very shady character. I've told Adrian he needs to keep his distance from the staff. They're always out drinking together.
Your husband frequents Kavanaugh's bar?
How did you know that? Adrian practically lives there after work.
So Adrian spends a lot of time there.
Up until recently, he's been away in Seattle a lot on business.
Did your husband tell you where he was going last night?
All he said was he was going to meet Frank for a drink.
So nothing out of the usual then.
Well, he came home early from work. He never comes home early. And he went out early, too. He normally never leaves for the bar till about 7.
I think you should come clean with us, Mrs. Black. Your husband is missing, and after our search, I'm willing to call the circumstances suspicious. Can you account for your movements last night?
You're not accusing me, are you? What an awful thing to say. I was here all night, of course, waiting for Adrian to come home.
Is there anyone who can vouch for that?
Well, no. I was here alone. I cooked Adrian's dinner and waited, but he never came home.
Was your husband wearing his glasses when he left here yesterday?
Yes, he just bought a new pair.
Go on.
I kept telling him to throw those old ones away. He tried to repair them with tape. They looked terrible.
Tell us about the photo of Adrian in the bedroom.
What is there to tell? It's from his most recent business trip to Seattle.
There's plenty to tell. You just won't tell it. You're lying about the photograph, Mrs. Black.
You're incredibly rude and insensitive. But I guess you know that. I've told you what I know about the picture.
What about Nicole, Mrs. Black? Was your husband going to leave you for her?
I've seen the photo frame. He thinks I'm stupid. But women sense these things. I don't know if he intended to leave me or if it was just a fling. God only knows. I only want to know that he's safe.
We'll keep you informed, Mrs. Black.
Please do, Detective.
Jesus, I'm glad to be out of there.
Mr. and Mrs. Black don't seem to have the happiest home life.
He's too scared to divorce her, and she's too much of a shrinking violet to throw him out. If this hadn't happened, they could have stayed miserable together forever.
You think she could have killed him?
She sure as hell doesn't seem the type, but stranger things have happened.
Officer needs help, 103 and East.
Hey, I know you.
No, you don't.
You looking for someone?
I love these waitresses.
You know Frank Morgan?
Everyone's a doll.
Sure. Frank's your regular. He's a loner in the back.
Frank Morgan?
Who's asking?
Cole Phelps, LAPD. I understand you're a friend of Adrian Black.
Yeah, I know him.
Are you aware that he's missing?
No, I hadn't heard that.
Tough break.
We found Black's car abandoned in a freight depot, covered in blood. You know anything about that, Morgan?
Hell no. I'm sorry to hear that. I like Adrian. He's a good boss.
Please, don't tell me you actually believe this jerk-off, Phelps.
You're lying, Morgan. You were there.
And you're talking out your ass, detective. How about you prove I was out at that rail yard?
You were there, Morgan. We found a receipt in the trunk of the car. It has your name on it. We can call the slaughter yard and nail you on it.
All right already. That fool Adrian's fallen for some dame in Seattle. He wanted me to make it look like he'd been attacked.
Where exactly is Black holed up?
No idea. I think he took off for Seattle.
I'm tired of your shtick, Morgan. Spill it! Or we take you out in the alley and we knock it out of you.
He's holed up at my place. He's waiting for some money to come through before he blows town.
An address?
It's an apartment house at the corner of Temple and Figueroa. Apartment number 2.
I think that's all. Thanks for your help, Morgan. We appreciate it.
Hey, I'm just glad I could help. I love cops.
Cuff him, let him go. It's up to you, Phelps. There's no way I'm writing this idiot up.
She wants a 5-star goddamn wedding.
Well, if it's all the same to you, I'll go back to my drink.
I've met some pretty good liars in my time. People who sound convincing because they actually believe their own bullshit. Huh. The type is clever, hard to catch out.
Frank Morgan is not one of those people.
No, he is not.
KGPL calling car 11K. 11K, come in.
11K, go ahead.
Message from Technical Services. Blood found in the abandoned Lincoln at the PE freight depot is not human. Repeat, not human. Compositional analysis reveals swine as the most likely match.
Roger, KGPL. Time to reel this guy in, Phelps.
Jesus, Cole!
It's cheaper than hiring returning GIs. They have less attitude. Downside is they're a little light-fingered.
Thank you for your help, Mr. Dewey.
No problem. God damn that kid. I'm just an honest car salesman. Seems like you just don't know who you can trust these days.
Going to movies, Dewey. You're missing your calling. Time to visit... Gabriel Delgado. See how good his excuse is.
You read this story in the Examiner about the Navy developing three-dimensional movies?
What's a dimension?
You know, like a graph. Vertical axis is Y and horizontal is X.
Well, that's clear as mud.
Third dimension would be Z. So things will be popping out of the screen.
That's ridiculous. Scare people out of the theater. God's name would want that?
I don't know. People scoffed at the idea of talkies in color, and look what we have now.
All units, officers help. Major 415, 1624 West 3rd Street, 1624 West 3rd Street. Any unit to handle code 3, identify.
Continue to respond,
Take it easy.
All units, officers help. Major 415, 1624 West 3rd Street, 16.
Finally! We're starting to think nobody would show.
What have we got?
The 3rd Street Gang and the Diamond Street Gang. Mexican kids with nothing better to do than howl at each other. But no bloodshed so far. Shit! Hope you brought plenty of ammunition, sir.
LAPD, drop your...
Throw out the guns. Eyes open. He's around here somewhere.
You're clear. Go.
How long do you think you can hold out?
You're fucking...
Car 11K, calling KGPL. I need an ambulance at 1624 West 3rd Street. Code 4. Shots fired and suspects are down.
Roger on the ambulance, 11K. All units be advised, code 4 on the Major 415 on West 3rd Street. Suspects are down.
10-4, precinct unit that is 1098%.
Oh, I knew I should have driven.
have a Juan Francisco Valdez in for questioning?
Sure do, Phelps. Your bird's an interview, too. And get this, he's wearing gloves and doing his best not to touch anything. Can you beat that?
Sounds like we don't want to keep this guy waiting. It's this way.
About time. Are you the senior officer I requested?
I'm Detective Phelps, and this is Detective Bukowski.
Have you any idea how long I've been waiting to speak with you? I am needed back at the consulate, and you keep me here like a common criminal.
All right, friend. Let's take a deep breath and start all over again.
Mr. Valdez.
Consul General. I insist on my full title.
Where did you purchase the car?
My secretary and driver arranged the purchase. A disreputable place, Dewey Brothers by name. As soon as I can have it arranged, I will have my Hispano Suiza brought up from Buenos Aires.
Bought a Packard, Valdez? A snob like you doesn't drive an American car. I want answers or I'll smack you around the teeth.
William Dewey offered me a substantial bribe to make a purchase at his establishment. It is not unusual to make this kind of transaction in the civil service.
Tell that to the Argentine taxpayers.
Consul General, we have located your car. Can you tell us how it was stolen?
It must have been stolen from the consular garage. Terribly inconvenient, of course. I want the perpetrator soundly flogged.
Unfortunately, we don't do that here, Your Worship.
You have a pretty good idea who stole the car, don't you, Consul General? Are you going to tell me, or do I shake it out of you?
There's no call for violence. I suspect a disgruntled boy from the car dealership.
You have a name for this kid?
Gabriel, like the archangel. I have no surname.
So tell us about this kid, Gabriel. You had a run-in with him?
Mecánico. A presumptuous young man who did not know his place. He presumed to ask me questions.
We do a lot of presuming here in the United States, Consul General. It comes with the turf.
You fuck young boys, Valdez.
Are you a madman? This will cause an international incident.
Danny, Ben, Miguel, Tristan, and Teddy. Full lips. Ring any bells?
I'm sure we can come to some arrangement.
Gabriel, spill it.
A beautiful.
You fuck young boys, Valdez.
Are you